That little brown bottle sitting next to your baking soda in the cupboard? Professional maids really don't want you to know what happens when you mix the two together, because if you knew, you'd stop paying them for half of what they do. Every year, people pay professional cleaning services anywhere from $100 to $300 a visit for deep cleaning jobs, grout, ovens, mattresses, tile floors that have gone dull and gray no matter how many times you mop them yourself. And most of it, can be handled with a box of baking soda you already have sitting in your pantry and a $2 bottle of 3% hydrogen peroxide right next to it, completely underused, gathering dust in the back of a cabinet. I want to be upfront with you before we get into this. Professional cleaners do genuinely valuable work, especially for whole house deep cleans when you're short on time or dealing with a move-in or move-out situation. This isn't about replacing that entirely, and there's real value in paying someone to handle a full house top to bottom when your schedule just doesn't allow it. But there's a specific combination they use behind the scenes, on the individual jobs they don't especially want to explain to you, because once you know it, you stop calling for the small stuff, the stuff that used to feel like it needed a professional but really never did. So today, we're going over 9 things professional maids know about mixing hydrogen peroxide with baking soda that they'd honestly rather keep to themselves. 9 ways this combination outperforms half the specialty cleaners sitting on store shelves at a fraction of the cost, without a single toxic fume filling up your house while you clean. Stick around, because number 6 is the one that shocked me the most when I tried it on a stain I genuinely thought was permanent. And I'll also give you a bonus tip after nearly every single one of these that most people online skip right over entirely. Let's start with number 1. Number 1. It restores yellowed grout without a single hour of scrubbing on your knees. Grout cleaning is one of the most requested and most expensive add-ons in professional cleaning, often running $200 or more just for a bathroom floor and shower, because it's genuinely miserable, time-consuming work to do by hand with a toothbrush, crouched over tile for an entire afternoon. Here's the actual combination they don't advertise. Mix baking soda with just enough hydrogen peroxide to form a thick paste, roughly 2 parts baking soda to 1 part peroxide. Spread it directly onto the grout lines with an old toothbrush or a small spatula. Let it sit for 15 minutes, then scrub lightly and rinse clean. The baking soda provides the gentle abrasive action, while the hydrogen peroxide oxidizes and lifts the mildew staining trapped down in the porous grout itself, something plain soap and water can never actually reach, no matter how hard you scrub. Grout that's been gray for years comes back closer to its original white or beige in a single treatment, sometimes 2 if it's been especially neglected. Quick bonus tip here. For grout that's been stained for so long the paste alone doesn't fully lift it, let the mixture sit under a piece of plastic wrap for the full 15 minutes instead of leaving it exposed to air. Keeping it damp the entire time noticeably improves how deep the reaction penetrates into the grout. Number 2. It deep cleans your oven without the toxic fumes of commercial oven cleaner. Oven cleaning is another premium add-on service, and for good reason. Most commercial oven cleaners are genuinely harsh, the kind that make you open every window in the house and still leave you a little lightheaded standing near the appliance. Make a paste of baking soda and water first. Coat the entire interior of the oven, avoiding the heating elements themselves, and let it sit overnight so it has time to actually work into the baked-on layers. In the morning, wipe out what you can with a damp cloth, then spray hydrogen peroxide directly over any remaining residue and baked-on grease that's still clinging to the surface. It'll foam up almost instantly on contact, and that foaming reaction lifts stubborn carbon buildup that the baking soda alone couldn't fully break down by itself. Wipe clean, and you're left with an oven that looks professionally detailed, without a single toxic fume drifting through your kitchen for the rest of the day. Number 3. It gets your stainless steel sink back to showroom shine. Stainless steel sinks look incredible when new and dull, disappointingly fast, covered in water spots, small scratches that trap grime over time, and a general haze that regular dish soap just glides right over without actually addressing any of it. Sprinkle baking soda directly over the damp sink, then pour hydrogen peroxide over it, and scrub in the direction of the steel's natural grain lines using a soft cloth, never against the grain. The combination lifts mineral deposits and light surface staining without scratching the metal the way harsher abrasive powders can over repeated use. Rinse and buff dry with a separate cloth, and you'll get that same reflective shine cleaning services charge extra for, as a standalone polish and detail line item on their invoice. Bonus tip here. If your sink has stubborn rust spots near the drain, usually from a rusting cast iron pan left sitting too long, let the baking soda and peroxide paste sit directly on the rust spot for a full hour, instead of just scrubbing right away. Rust responds much better to extended contact time than to scrubbing pressure. Number 4. It pulls old stains out of carpet that you'd already written off as permanent. This is genuinely one of the most requested services, carpet spot treatment, and it's also one of the most inconsistent because most commercial carpet cleaners are built for fresh stains, not the ones that have already set for weeks or months and gone stiff into the fibers. Mix a tablespoon of baking soda into a quarter cup of hydrogen peroxide along with a small drop of dish soap. Apply it directly to the stained area. Let it sit for about 30 minutes, then blot, don't scrub, with a clean cloth, working from the outside edge of the stain inward so it doesn't spread further into clean carpet. For old stains, you may need to repeat this 2 or 3 times over a few days, but the combination reaches deep into carpet fibers in a way that surface sprays simply can't manage, breaking down the stain at a molecular level instead of just diluting the surface color and pushing it around. Number 5. It refreshes a mattress without an expensive professional mattress cleaning service. Mattress cleaning services can run anywhere from $100 to $200, mostly for treating sweat stains, dust mite buildup, and that flat, musty smell mattresses develop over years of nightly use that never seems to fully air out, no matter how often you flip the windows open. Sprinkle a generous, even layer of baking soda across the entire mattress surface and let it sit for at least an hour, longer if you can manage it, to absorb odor and moisture trapped deep in the fibers below the surface. Vacuum thoroughly afterward, then, for any visible stains, spray a mix of hydrogen peroxide and a small amount of dish soap directly onto the stain, dab gently with a cloth, and let it air dry completely before putting sheets back on the bed. The baking soda handles the odor and moisture absorption, the peroxide handles the visible staining, and together they cover what a professional visit charges for in 2 entirely separate line items on the same invoice. Bonus tip on this one. Flip your mattress and treat both sides if you can manage it. Even if only one side shows visible staining, sweat and moisture soak through more than most people realize, and treating just the top leaves the underside quietly building up the exact same odor you just spent an hour getting rid of. Number 6. It gets baked-on gunk out of your microwave in minutes, and this is the one that genuinely shocked me. I didn't expect this combination to outperform steam cleaning, which is the usual go-to trick everyone already knows for microwaves. A bowl of water and lemon steamed inside to loosen up the grime clinging to the walls. But this next method handles stains that steam alone leaves completely untouched, no matter how long you let it run. Make a thick paste of baking soda and hydrogen peroxide. Spread it directly onto the caked-on splatters and stains inside the microwave, and let it sit for 10 minutes without wiping. Wipe with a damp cloth, and stains that have been baked on for months, the kind that steam just softens but never fully removes, lift away almost completely on the first pass. It works because the paste stays in direct contact with the stain long enough for the oxidizing reaction to actually break down the residue, instead of relying on steam alone to loosen it and hoping a single wipe finishes the job for you. Number 7. It restores dull, dingy tile floors without renting a professional floor buffer. Tile floors lose their shine over time from a combination of soap residue, foot traffic, and mineral buildup from mopping with hard water, and most people just accept the dullness as permanent, assuming it means the tile itself has simply worn out over the years. Mix a half cup of baking soda into a bucket of warm water. Mop as usual to lift general grime off the surface, then follow up with a second pass using straight hydrogen peroxide, applied directly to particularly dull or stained sections with a cloth, letting it sit for a few minutes before a final rinse mop over the whole floor. The first pass handles the surface residue everyone can see. The second pass oxidizes the deeper staining sitting in the tile's texture that a regular mop pass never actually reaches down into. Floors that looked permanently dull come back with a genuine shine, no rented equipment or professional buffer required at all. Bonus tip here. Grout lines between tiles hold on to far more grime than the tile surface itself, so before your final rinse pass, go back over just the grout lines with a small brush dipped in straight hydrogen peroxide. It catches the staining the mop pass alone tends to skip right over. Number 8. It eliminates soap scum and mold in the shower without harsh, fume-heavy bathroom sprays. Soap scum and light mold in shower corners is one of the most common complaints professional cleaners deal with on every single visit, and most retail bathroom sprays either barely touch it or require you to hold your breath while you scrub because of how strong the fumes are. Combine baking soda and hydrogen peroxide into a paste. Apply it directly to grout lines, corners, and any visible soap scum buildup on tile or glass surfaces, and let it sit for 20 minutes untouched. Scrub with a non-scratch sponge and rinse thoroughly with warm water. The paste breaks down soap scum's waxy buildup, while the peroxide targets the mold spores directly at the surface level, and you're left with a shower that smells like nothing at all, rather than the harsh chemical sting most commercial sprays leave hanging in the air for an hour afterward. One more bonus tip before we move to the last one. Shower curtains and liners hold on to mold just as much as the tile does, and most people just replace them instead of cleaning them. Toss a fabric liner in the wash with a half cup of baking soda and a half cup of hydrogen peroxide added straight to the drum, and it usually comes out looking close to new instead of heading to the trash. Number 9. It deodorizes your entire refrigerator without replacing an open box of baking soda every single month. Most people know to keep an open box of baking soda in the fridge for odor control, but almost nobody knows you can actually deep clean the source of the smell instead of just masking it slowly over the following weeks. Wipe down all interior surfaces, shelves, drawers, and door seals with a mix of hydrogen peroxide and water. 1 part peroxide to 2 parts water, paying special attention to the rubber door gasket where spills and grime tend to collect completely unnoticed for months at a time. Follow up by wiping every surface again with a paste of baking soda and water to neutralize any remaining odors sitting at the source. Together, this handles both the bacteria actually causing the smell and the odor itself, instead of relying on a single box sitting quietly in the corner to slowly absorb it over the following month, only to need replacing again right after. So there you have it. 9 things professional maids know about combining hydrogen peroxide and baking soda that they'd honestly rather you never sat down and found out. All in one place. Not because this combination replaces every single service a professional offers. There's real value in a full, deep clean when you're genuinely pressed for time or facing a whole house at once. But for the everyday stuff, the grout that's gone gray, the oven nobody wants to look at too closely, The mattress that's been due for a refresh for years now. Two ingredients sitting quietly in your pantry are doing work that companies want to charge you hundreds of dollars for. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Which one of these 9 surprised you the most? Was it the oven? The mattress? Or was it that microwave trick at number 6 that genuinely caught me off guard too when I first tried it? Have you already tried mixing hydrogen peroxide and baking soda for something in your own home? And did it work as well as you expected it to? Or is there a stubborn cleaning problem going on right now that none of this has managed to touch yet? Something you've basically given up on and just learned to live with? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely read every single one of them. And before you go, here's one last thing worth thinking about. Almost every one of these 9 tricks comes down to the same basic idea. Baking soda, handling the physical grime and absorption. Hydrogen peroxide, handling what's actually causing the staining and the smell underneath it. Professional cleaners aren't using some secret proprietary formula locked away in a supply closet. They're mostly just using this exact combination and charging by the hour for the time it takes to apply it properly. Once you know that, a lot of what feels like specialized cleaning expertise starts looking a lot more like patience and the right 2 ingredients applied consistently. That doesn't mean professional cleaners aren't worth it for a full house when you're overwhelmed or short on time. They absolutely still are. But for the individual problem spots, the grout you've been avoiding, the oven you close the door on and pretend not to see, you've now got exactly what they'd bring with them anyway, sitting in your own cupboard the entire time. If this saved you a call to a cleaning service, or even just saved you from buying another specialty spray that barely works and leaves your whole house smelling like a chemical plant, do me a favor. Like the video, share it with somebody who's been putting off a deep clean they've been dreading for months, and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.